It's Steph here, and today I am going to talk about Origins Game Fair 2023 and the preview of that. So on BGG, there is a preview of the games that are set to be released and available at Origins, which is actually this week. But I will not be going. Doesn't mean I don't have opinions on the games coming out, though, and maybe what we will expect for Gen Con. I'm sure the Gen Con list will be much bigger as it always is, but it's always good to see what's coming out at Origins to get a head start, you know? So this video is actually going to be divided up into two sections. I'm going to talk about the games that I already know, so I have a little bit more to say about that. There's only 37 of the 118 titles on the list, but that's still a lot. And then I'm going to talk about the games that I am going to hope to play in the near future. Hi, Dr. Stein, welcome in. So yes, here we go. Let's see. The first thing I'm going to talk about are the games that I already know about, because I can talk more about those. And so of the Origins list, there's 118 titles. Now, if you narrow it down to not demo and just for sale, there's only 80. So I've played about half of the games on this list. That's not so bad. Okay, so here we go. It's just listed by publisher. So 25th Century, I've played almost all of their games. And they're all really cool. So let's just start off. We have Blazen. We did stream this one, so you might have seen us play it, Michael and I. So Blazen, you're collecting these like emblems to make one big shield, your family crest, if you will. So it has a really interesting and unique theme. It is kind of limiting on how you can place the different cards on your board. But I don't know. For me, the game is pretty good. It's definitely worth playing, especially if you like interesting and different themes. So yeah, it's probably worth checking out. Here we got FICA, which I ended up playing this on BGA. It's a small 2-player card game, and I think there's like maybe 18 cards or something in the deck. So it's a game that will benefit after many plays, because you'll kind of understand the cards and what to expect and how your opponents are going to play. In my first play, it was okay. I could see how the game would open up after that. The first game, you're like, well, it just seems like a lot of luck because you don't really know what's going on as you figure it out. But I'd be interested in trying that again. Green Team Wins is now available again. I know that there was the reprint. There's a Target edition now, so more people can play it. This game deserves all the love because it is just so good. I don't know how it didn't win Party Game of the Year for the Geek Awards, but this deserved to win. This is an excellent game, and it plays any number of people. If you have the dry erase boards, you can really just play, or just piece of paper, and you can play with 30, 50, 80 people, whoever wants to play. So I think this is a perfect party game. Next we have Motor City. This is a new roll and write from the designers who did Fleet the Dice game and Three Sisters. So it kind of has a similar feeling to those, because you're dealing with 2 sheets of paper, and one thing is doing this, one thing is doing this, so you're trying to manage all the combos you can get. If you like roll and writes, it's worth trying. We did stream this one, so if you want to see it play through, we have a stream of that. It's good. I still think I like Fleet the Dice game the best of the 3. I'm not a big car person, so the theme didn't really pull me in or anything. But maybe if you enjoy cars, then you would enjoy this one. Then we got Raw. This is the new edition of Raw. You know what? There's been a lot of editions of Raw, but this is definitely the prettiest version. Um, I think Chad 25th Century did a really great job with the production quality. It's just a gorgeous game. So I just got my copy, and I'm excited to give it a whirl. It's really great. We also did a preview of this one when it was on Kickstarter. We were able to do a preview, a 2-player game of Raw, so that is also found on my channel. Here we go, is Split Toe. You know, I actually played this on BGA. We played with 3 players, and it's not great with 3 players, but I can see the potential here. So this is, so I haven't given this one a fair shake, because I know that if I were playing with 5 people, like, the game would just open up and be really cool. So, you know, it's one of those games where I think the minimum player count is, you know, barely workable, but with more players, the game really shines. So this is definitely one that I want to play again, and see how crazy it can be, because you're trying to score points, but you're like working with your partners, and then you're trying to get the best scores, but only one person can win. So you're trying to not get the best scores at the same time. It's a little weird, but it's fun. It kind of reminds me of like Between Two Cities, if you know that game. But it's a card game, so it's interesting. Villanimo is super fun. I've played this several times this year, since I first got it. It's a climbing game where you're trying to get rid of all your cards, and if you can do that faster than other players, you'll get more points. But if you do it even before one other person, you'll still get points. So you just don't want to be last. You got to manage your hand as best you can, and yeah. It's a nice little card game, Bruno Cavallo. So I'll play Roll to the Top Journeys is on Board Game Arena. I didn't count it as a new game because it's basically Roll to the Top. We actually couldn't figure out what the difference was with Journeys and Roll to the Top, so I didn't count it as a new to me game when I played it. Maybe there are new maps. We couldn't figure out if there were new mechanics, because it seemed all the same from Roll to the Top. So if you like Roll to the Top, maybe this is just a new edition that you can pick up. We got Dubious. Dubious, I first learned this like whenever it came out, the first edition, not with Arcane Wonders. So I don't know, way back, I don't know, it feels like it's been 3 or 4 years. I feel like it was before COVID, but maybe it wasn't. I don't know. It's been a minute. So it's a you have to tell the story without giving away too much, but you have to figure out what other people are doing. And so it's a deduction game with a storytelling element, but you don't have to like get too detailed with storytelling. I don't want to scare people away with storytelling, because I generally don't like storytelling games. I'm not really good at it. But if you're given like a sort of role, then you kind of can figure out what that character would be doing and saying in response to different things. So it can be clever if you're. I've had a lot of fun with this, so I want other people to have a lot of fun with it as well. Gap, we played this the other day. You're basically drafting cards from a row of cards, and the cards you take will go in front of you, and you're trying to get basically all of the same amount of each color, or like a ton of one color and none of another color, because what's going to happen is you're going to you're going to like minus your highest from your lowest, or if they're all equal, then they're all your highest, so you add them all together. So if you had like 4 and 3 and 3, you would end up losing a point, because or you'd gain a point because it's 4 minus 3 minus 3. I don't know. It's a little weird system, but you're just trying to collect these cards. And it's very simple. It was fine. It's definitely not something to like write home about. Michael and I played through the Mother of Frankenstein Volume 1. There's going to be, I think, 3 volumes to this. It was a Kickstarter that Arcane Wonders picked up. So this is just Volume 1 that we played. And it was a long 3 games inside of Volume 1. But it was fine. It started off pretty weak. And I'm glad we kept going because the puzzles got much better as we went along. But I'm not really into all of the text trying to figure out what it's trying to say. Like there's a lot of reading involved. As it got into the different puzzles where it's like more of a visual and like puzzly type puzzles, I like those better. So yeah, this game is one for players who love Mary Shelley or who love escape type games. So yeah, that was Mother of Frankenstein. Hey, Time Roller, thank you so much for subscribing at tier 1. Thank you. Stay subscribed for 30 months. Oh my God, Time Roller, that's amazing. Thank you. I am just going over the Origins Game Fair right now and just going down the preview list. Now, these are the games that I have played already. The Tribes of the Wind is a beautiful game. It's a beautiful, beautiful game. I like this one. It's different because you're trying to manage your like little city board, but you're also using the players' cards that they have. So you can see the backs of all of the players' cards. And so you know that the player to your right has 2 yellow, a green, and a red, or whatever, and the player to your left has 3 blue and 2 red, and so you're using this information to decide which actions you're going to take, because a lot of the actions that you have in your hand of cards will interact with the players next to you. What they don't like do anything to those players' cards, but your benefit will be based on what they have. So it's pretty interesting because you have to, wait till the opportune moment to play your action cards and make sure that you can get the best benefit possible. So it has a really fun and fresh take with cards. So I always love when cards are being used in an interesting way. And it's great. It's fun. We have Beer and Bread from Capstone Games. Delightful 2-player game. Again, interesting use of cards. It's from Scott Alms, but it kind of gives me an Uwe Rosenberg feeling just because of the wheat and all the things that you're doing in the game. It's I like the farming feeling and all of that. So the game for me is. So this is probably one of Scott Alm's best games, in my opinion. I like this one quite a bit. So if you're into 2-player games, this is definitely one to check out from Capstone. Then we got Joan of Arc, Orleans Draw and Write. I love Orleans. I so love Orleans. So I love the Invasion Orleans, the expansion that is cooperative. But in any case, I've played a lot of Orleans over the years. And so I was excited to see a draw and write game. And so if you're familiar with Orleans and you kind of know the people and what they're doing, like the black merchant guy, he likes to get the buildings. All of the concepts in Orleans are found in this draw and write game. So if you're familiar with those, then you will grasp this game better. If you haven't played that, then it might be a little bit more of a challenge to get into it, just because the symbols are very small. They're even kind of muddy, and they're all the same kind of colors. So you might have, if you have issues with like small icons, then this might not be the game for you. But, if you're familiar with Orleans and kind of know the flow, I think this will be a fun game for you. I really like it. So this is one that I'm happy to play more of. Wandering Towers, the new Kramer and Kiesling game. It's fairly abstract. So if you are into abstract games, then this could be fun. Basically, these towers are moving around as you're trying to move your meeples around. Eventually, you want to throw them into the tower that you want to get all your meeples into. And if you can do that first, you'll win the game, but you'll have to first perform spells, and you'll have to move towers around. So basically you're moving these towers, covering up meeples that are on locations. So it's also a sort of memory game. So you're trying to figure out the best possible way of moving these towers around. I'm definitely glad I played it. Michael didn't like it very much because it is fairly abstract. I think I liked it more than him, but it's also a race game because you want to get all your guys to that location first. And I don't love race games, but I'm glad I've tried it. Next is Mind Your Business. So you probably have, if you're a frequent on Twitch, on my Twitch channel here, you might have met Matthew Ryan. He shows up in the chat. So he was actually working with another company, but then he branched off and started his own company. And so this was one of his first games. So we checked it out. It is a card laying type game where you're trying to get these gems out of specific pathways and move your card around. We gave a lot of feedback. I'm not sure how much of the feedback was implemented into the final edition of Mind Your Business. So I can't really speak to it too much because we played it in a prototype phase. But, there are some interesting ideas going on here. So probably worth checking out. Jalapagos. This is the big box edition. So I have not actually played the big box edition, but I have played Jalapagos. This is just not a game for me. I am not a fan of this game. It is so it's like a game of Survivor. If you want to work with people to get things done, but then you want to kill them and survive on your own. So it's like cooperative until not kind of game. And I'm not into the backstabby, take that kind of elements of this game. So when I played, I was very upfront saying I'm not working with anybody. And basically I had a gun and I shot somebody on the first turn and they didn't get another turn until someone revived them later on in the game. That's the kind of game. So I can't do a little bit of this and then a little bit of this in my gameplay. I just don't like that. So for a lot of people, this is a lot of fun. For me, it's just not that fun. Koala, super beautiful abstract game. Gigameek really does a great job with their abstract, beautiful quality games. They are perfect for a coffee table type game. If you have a coffee table without a game on it, well, you should look into Gigameek games because they're all perfect for that. Koala is a Mancala style game where you pick up a stack of rocks and then drop them one at a time, and you're trying to get 4 in a row. So it's very simple. I seem to be very bad at it because I always lose, but I enjoy the challenge. I think it also showed up on BGA too, so you can check it out there. Next on the list from Grand Gamers Guild, the Artemis Odyssey. Played. So this is the remake of Ad Astra, and there's like these like planets around, and you're trying to go and collect resources. I like that they have changed the game a little bit to be capable to play with 1 and 2 players versus the 3 to 5 players, because we found it worked pretty great with 2 players. Um, so what I write here is it's a bit take that for my liking, but there are still some solid mechanics that I do enjoy. Programming and exploration. I like programming and trying to anticipate what people are going to do. Obviously, like exploration, going to a location, not knowing what's there until you get there. So all that is fun for me. So it's definitely a cool space game. It works great with their Artemis Project. So it's like a series of games that Grand Gamers is working on. So the next thing on the list is the expansion, the Artemis Project Satellites and Commanders, which I have played. It adds in these cool satellites. So when you're going, you can activate these different satellites and they do different things. And then there's commanders that can basically go anywhere. So they're really strong if you can get them. So there's a little bit of like added content for the base game of Artemis Project if you like worker placement and like dice. It's cool. I've enjoyed Artemis Project. It's one that I wish I got to play more of, but it's pretty good. Worth checking out. So Nidavellir was one of my like favorite games to come out. Was that last year or the year before? I can't remember. Whenever it came out, I love Nidavellir. Roja here, super fun. Perhaps not as great as Nidavellir, but still really cool. I think the biggest downfall with Roja is the way. So it's a card drafting game where you're taking these cards and then placing them on your board. When you get 3 in a row of symbols, you're going to take this god power and you get to activate the god power. Now, the thing is, if somebody else then gets 3 in a row of the same one, they take it from you. So there is this like take that element to it because you're taking it back, and you're basically losing that power. So when I have taught this game, that's probably the biggest deterrent. So it won't be for everybody because of that mechanic alone. As far as the puzzly aspect of placing these cards down and making like patterns, and I think it's super fun. This little dude is walking around your board, and when it gets the full circle, then it's over. So the gameplay is actually pretty fast. There's a lot of good choices. This is one of the best that I've learned this year so far. So I'm excited to see that come out. Next we have Glom. This game is very difficult for me. Very difficult. Oh, Time Roller wanted to comment on Roja. I've taught Roja to so many people, and I originally taught it to Time Roller, so that works out, Spread the love. So Glom is a party game. You really need to know English, and I don't. I mean, I do, but I'm not like a creative writer, if you will, and you really kind of have to be a creative writer to do well in this game, because basically you're taking the grass is always greener on the other side, something like that. You're taking a saying that people, a common phrase or something like eat your vegetables, and so you have to basically rewrite. So then there's conditions. So there's the phrase and a condition and a goal, 3 different things that you have to think about. And so you're rewriting this phrase to basically make the same idea, in a cohesive sentence using criteria that the game provides you. Like all 3-letter words must end in an E, or all 4-letter words have to start with a T, or whatever it is. There's so many criterias where the rules that you can't. And so, and then the goal, the card will also have a criteria that you want to meet. So whoever has the most 5-letter words or whatever, there's a deck of cards, and I can't even think of like different types of things, but there's a lot of different criterias for both of these things. And so you have to try and write a sentence that makes sense. Like, okay, so don't forget to eat your vegetables or whatever. So you would have to say you can't use any of the words in the original phrase. And so you're rewriting this, I'm so bad. I'm trying to think of something. I just can't. Like, it's so hard. It's so hard for me. Devour greenery and tomatoes daily. I don't know, I am so bad at it. I can't even think of a good example because I'm so bad at it. But if you play with somebody who's good at it and you're not good at it, you're just lose. So it's a tough game. It's probably a very specific game for very specific groups of people. And yeah, I'm not that. So if it sounds fun to you, it's definitely worth trying. Yeah, that's Glom. Earth has been all the rage everywhere. People have been playing Earth and loving Earth. I've played it when it was on the Kickstarter. I played it on TTS at the time. I have not yet played my copy, which I do have, and I'm sure Michael will really enjoy this one when we do. So we'll be streaming that in the near future. I like it. I think I'll probably like it best at 2 players just to keep the game snappy. I've seen longer games go on because, if I activate something, everybody else at the table will get to activate the thing. So it's just a matter of, keeping the game snappy is important for me. But yeah, I'm excited to give that another go. Hey, oh, Panic, what's up? Oh, hi. Then we have Galaxy Rush. Oh, Time Roller says about Earth, it's so much easier on the table than digital. So much to see. Yeah, I bet that's probably true. I know the deck of cards is quite large. For me, I just love the look. I love that the whole game is using photography. Like, that's very attractive to me because I'm a photographer. I love that they did that. I wish more art and games were using photography. But yeah. Hey, Anne. Thanks for the lurk. All right, now we go on to Galaxy Rush. This is a game that we have streamed. This is a 2-player card drafting, set collecting game where you advance and collect a card. Now, when you advance, if you're the first one to go, you can choose which card you want, or if you don't want either of those cards, you can go forward even one more space. But these cards that you're collecting will provide resources for discoveries, or if you don't want it, you can always flip it over for movement points. There's a lot of things you're doing with these types of cards. The game is super short, so it's 20 minutes for a 2-player game. It's a great little, just want to play something fast, pull it out and play. So it works great if you like 2-player games. Next, we have Horticulture. This is another one from Last Night Games. This is a new roll and write flip and write, I should say. It's a deck of cards, and you'll flip 2 cards, and one person will choose which card to use, and then you every turn a new person will pick which card to use, and so everybody will draw the 2 symbols on the card that was chosen. And these symbols can go on your garden, and you're trying to make groups of specific types of plants. So the trees want to be individual groups of one, and you want many of those. The carrots, I think, want to be a group of three. So you want to have groups of 3 carrots. And then you also have a gnome, and you have a walkway, and you have all these different ways to score other points. So you're trying to manage all of that. It's cute. I don't know how much replay there is, because each game you are setting your own conditions for how to score. So if you find the perfect combination of what to do, then you'll just always pick the same starting stuff. So for what it is, it's 20 minutes. It's a cute alternative flip and write to other flip and writes out there. So, just for variety, it's a nice. Distilled. I have my copy on the couch. I've played it in prototype. Such amazing, gorgeous game. It's one I definitely want to play again soon. I don't know if I remember the rules well enough to just go out and teach it, but hopefully I can play it again soon. If you like big games like Viticulture and Brew Crafters, it obviously it has the same like vibe as those, but there is like a push your luck element in this game a little bit when you're actually distilling your beverages. So it feels very different but similar at the same time. So it stands on its own though. I'm not even into alcohol or anything like that, but the game it shines. It's really a nice game. I think I rated it an 8 out of 10. So that's fairly good. I really like that. So definitely worth checking out. We have these little link to games. I'm going to combine them together because they're basically the same but different. Each of these link to games has 5 games inside the box, going from easiest level difficulty to hardest level difficulty. We have played a few of them on the stream, so you can check those out if you want to see how it's played. But it's a cooperative trivia game where we're gonna have a deck of cards and a whole bunch of, like for the food one, ingredients and food items on the table. Will reveal a question like, what's the Ninja Turtle's favorite food? And so you line it up with pizza, right? And so at the end of the game, all of these things will have a link in theory, and you'll have 1 card remaining. If you check and you're right, that's great, but you also have to check all of the answers to make sure you got all those correct as well. And if you didn't get it right, well, you get one more chance to try and guess the last leftover food card. But as you play through these 5 scenarios, it's like it gets super hard and challenging, and like I don't know anything about food, so if I didn't have like James and Susan and Michael helping me out, I would have just totally failed by myself. So it's interesting to have the different knowledge of the people of who you're playing with. We also played through all of the travel games as well, and so that has to do with like different traveling. Like there's locations, there's cities, there's vehicles there. So all the different cards on the table have different possible outcomes. So I think the series is super clever. It's so much fun because I'm usually not into trivia because I'm not generally that trivia knowledgeable, I guess. But it's cool because all of the answers are out there. So you can kind of make educated guesses when you don't know. So you don't have to know everything. But I think it's super fun. This is a small box game. As you can see, it's very cheap. You can buy these for $13. So definitely worth playing, and then hand them off to your family to play. I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. These games are in my opinion, if you're going to Origins or Gen Con or wherever you're going, you should definitely pick them up. They're very small box games, and they are worth picking up and playing. Rio Grande has Seas of Strife coming out. This is actually a remake of Texas Showdown. So many people might have heard of that. I really liked it when I played it. Again, I've only played it a few times, so it's been a minute, and I don't remember it that well, but I like that it's coming out in the new edition, and I'll get to play it again hopefully soon. So I think that'll be fun. Yeah, I liked this one a lot when I did play it. So we have Flashback Zombie Kids. A lot of people might have heard of Zombie Kids Evolution, which is a dice game. It's a legacy type game for kids. It was super accessible, so fun. This is a different type of game. This is basically you're putting out these cards and trying to make connections between the cards. So it's more of like a detective type game, I guess, where you're trying to figure out what's happening. They're going to ask you some questions at the end, and if you can answer them, you're the best you can, and you'll get some number of points. So you're trying to figure out the story as you unfold these cards. Super fun for kids. I love the colors. I love the artwork style. Just definitely a cool game. If you've got kids who have enjoyed the Zombie Kids Evolution game, that's probably a good one to check out. We have Turing Machine, which actually showed up on BGA recently, so I got to play that like 3 more times the other day. That was a lot of fun. This is a deduction game. I find that, there is a bit of luck of the pick when you first pick your number at the beginning of the game. But from there, you're going to use your code, your 3-digit code, in order to get information about the other so you're trying to figure out the exact code, and so there's going to be like 4 to 6 different clues that you can look to see if it's checking properly. And like if blue is greater than yellow, you check if is it an X? No. Oh, if it's a check? Yes. Okay. So blue is greater than yellow. So now you know that the blue color number will have to be higher than yellow. So you're trying to deduce what the actual code is by using these different clues. It's interesting. I like that it's available online. We got 0 to 100. This is a party game where you're trying to get rid of your question cards. So I'm partnering up with Dan, and so there's going to be a number in the center of the table. It says, I don't know, 50. And so out of our question cards in front of us, we have to find the one that is closest to 50. And we have to say, okay, this card will be our answer. And then once everybody selects their own card, then we all flip them over to see who actually was closest. Whoever was furthest away will have to take a new card, so you don't actually lose what you've done. It's a challenge. It's a lot of fun, though. This is a really clever way of using trivia in a game, because you can just say I don't have any good answers and throw something in and just hope for the best. And so you're not actually having to provide any information with this game. You can do whatever you want, but to kind of have an idea of what it might be, okay, then you're trying to think, with your teammates, will it work? I really, really like this one. I guess once you've played through the deck of cards, you're kind of waiting for the next game because you know the answers for some of them. I mean, I wouldn't remember the answers, but I know some people will remember answers. But anyway, I think this is another super, super fun game for just $15. Definitely worth it. Galileo Project. Probably one of the best games to come out this year. Uh, and I'm not just saying that because the box cover is beautiful. I mean, that helps. But I don't judge a cover. I don't judge a game by the cover, generally. But this one I knew I had to play. And when I did, I was not disappointed. Super great use of different tracks. You're using one track to recruit people and robots, but you're either recruiting from Mars or Earth, so you have to be on either the Mars or Earth track. And then in order to switch between the two, you're going to need to spend money. And so it's like, okay, well, I want to try and be on the Earth track as long as possible without spending money to have to go to the other side. So you're managing that, but then you're also trying to manage the different tracks around the different planets, the moons. So it's super easy to understand this game because there's only basically 3 things you can do in your turn. So it's about figuring out the best possible combination of these actions to make it work for you. We did a playthrough of this, so be sure to check out that video. Really, really like this one. It's beautiful. Here we have Gosu X. I haven't played any of the other Gosu games, but it's basically a 2-player card dueling game. You're creating like a set of cards, and in the end you're trying to have the most value of your people compared to the other person. Meanwhile, during the whole play, you're trying to attack the other person, make them flip over their cards, draw more cards, do a lot to manage your hand and deck. And so you're playing with 3 different decks in one combined deck. So it's kind of like a smash up thing. So you're trying to find the best combos for all of that. And then we got In the Footsteps of Darwin, another beautiful game. Let me just tell you that the French really know how to do artwork. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. This is a very light tile drafting game. You're going to be moving Darwin's boat around, and you'll be drafting different tiles from where the boat lands. So you're going to take the tiles you have and put them in your journal, and there's different like things you're trying to do, and so you only get like 12 tiles, so it's a very, very fast game. Definitely 30 minutes with even up to 5 players. It's very fast. So it's gonna be a keeper for me. I really like it. They did a great job with that. Vivarium I played in prototype form a couple years ago, not this year but last year. Yeah, it's a card drafting game where you're trying to make different sets of cards. Beautiful again, and I'm excited to see where it's come since I've played it in prototype form. So it's only coming out now, so it's been a full year. Anything could have happened between now and then, but it's one that is on my radar for sure. We've got Goblin Vaults. I guess this is the last one on my list. I super like this one. You're basically bidding for cards to put into your vault. Now, if you underbid somebody, you'll end up taking the card that you used. So having low cards could be beneficial because you don't want to take any of the cards on display. So you want to underbid somebody, and then you get your own card. So there's like a balancing that you have to try and do because you are trying to put these cards in your vault in a very specific way. It's pretty quick, and I like bidding games. I like having an auction, if you will. I mean, you're not rebidding, so you're just placing your bid, and that's it. And if you lose the bid, you get your card. So, there's a lot to think about, and it's pretty fun. I liked it a lot. So that was all of the games that I've played. Back to the top here. Now we could talk about games that I'm interested in and I must have. There are very few must haves, but let's see what happens. Okay. So there's an expansion for prehistories from 25th century. I have prehistories, the base game, so I'm curious to see. I always like expansions for games that I own, just because I like to see what new things they're thinking of. So that's just one that I want to check out. Just because I like 25th century games, I have a feeling that I would like resist, but it is a one player game, so I'm not sure. Maybe it could be played cooperatively, but it's probably worth trying. Not really big on like civil war type games, but the theme isn't. I don't love the theme, but you know, I would try it. We've got an expansion for Space Explorers, which this is a game that I do wish got played more. I think if it showed up on BGA, I would play it more. Because I really like this game. I should probably play this more. And so with an expansion, I really think that it will get played more. Well, it definitely will get played more if I get an expansion because we'll have to play it. But from that point on, I hope that it gets like a little bit of life back into it because I like that game a lot. Just looking at it makes me want to play it. We have 3WS Games, which I'm not even sure that I've heard of this company before, but they have some interesting games that I'd want to check out. I like cooperative, simultaneous action selection. I mean, Mission Control just sounds like a game. It kind of sounds like Intrepid a little bit, but um, I'm curious about it. I'm definitely curious about it. What website is this? This is Board Game Geek. I'm looking at the Origins preview list. Let me see if I can get you a link. If you go to the homepage of BGG, you should be able to find Origins Game Fair. So this is the link. Where are you now? There you go. So that's just I'm just looking at the games I've marked as interested in right now. The next one on the list is the Stuff of Legend. I've seen this one at conventions before. I like the look of it. It has a really like dark kind of kid gloom to it. I don't know. It's really weird. It has a weird look and it's unique. So I think because of that, it draws me in. I like cooperative games, so I'm a little bit scared off by the fact that it needs 3 to 6 players, though. I'm not gonna lie. That the fact that you can't play 2 players as a cooperative game, it I'm then on the fence about it. So I'm interested in learning more about it, but the likelihood that I'll actually get it played is very low. We have Big Top. It's an auction game, which I love auction games. I wish there were more auction games. So I want to try all of the auction games whenever possible. Um, Maybe I'll get to try that one. Who knows? I like the theme. Then we got Fiction, um, semi cooperative deduction word game. I don't know. I always like to try word games. And it's designed by Peter Hayward, which he does decent games. 20 minutes. It's gonna be great, right? So I was looking at Poland. It's Reiner Knizia. It's a remake of what the heck was that remake of? It was I looked it up and I'm like, I haven't played it. Samurai the card game. Samurai the card game. Haven't played it though. So I am interested. Reiner Knizia has been remaking a lot of his games. So maybe. Maybe. I put Furnace Interbellum as a must have because I love Furnace and I want more content for it. This is like the one other must have on my list or something. Like I had like 2 or 3 maybe must haves. This is one that I definitely would get if I were going to Origins. I love Furnace. Atlantis Rising, Monstrosities. This is a really cool cooperative game. Elf Creek Games redid it, and when they redid it, they totally revamped all the artwork and everything. I played the original, and it was pretty mundane. The remake, super challenging and fun. Beautiful, beautiful game. So now that there's an expansion coming for it, I would be interested in checking it out. I love legendary creatures. How fun! I think that's great. The theme is just awesome. Gold Seal Games, they have these small box games that I always like to try. They're always different, and so I don't really know if this is like that or if this is a bigger game, but it says it's a card game, a set collection, but Book of Villainy. It's definitely one I would check out in any case. I want to play it. Grand Gamers Guild. I actually contacted the publisher about a possible review of this one, so hopefully I can check this out in the near future. It looks super cool. I love city building games in general. It's obviously a good looking game. How? How? I don't really know how to say it. Rulers of Yucatan. How? How? I don't know how to say it. Anyway, on the list of games to play, I love the holiday hijinks games from Grand Gamers Guild. They are always so much fun and super clever. It's an escape room and 18 cards. The game often gets overlooked because it is tiny, but this is a series that everybody needs to check out because it is perfect for any occasion and all of the puzzles are clever. I can't recommend this series enough. For $11, it's a must get. Like, you just have to get it. It's people spend more money on lunch. No, get this little cute card game, and you'll have a great time. Resurgence, deck building, endgame bonuses, science fiction. I haven't played the other Half Kingdom games, but I'm interested in trying it. I can't say I love the theme, but I'm not really into the post-apocalyptic games themed, but I want to try it. I mean, it's been getting a lot of positive press, so hooah. Timerler says it's a bag builder and he loves it. Well, that makes me want to try it even more. I'm glad you love it, Timerler. So I guess it's hooah. Hooah. One day I'll get it. A new expansion for Roll Camera. Yes, please. We just recently played the B-Roll expansion and it was fabulous. So any more expansions, I won't be able to fit in the box, but I still want them anyway. Chicken from Keymaster Games is Scott Alm's game. It says 2 to 8 players. I mean, it's push your luck dice rolling. How hard could it be? It looks pretty cute. Give anything a shot, right? Astra has been out for a while. I actually own a copy that I picked up used. I haven't yet played it, but it's on the shelf of opportunity. I'm still interested in trying it. I like the theme of the astronomy. Miller Zoo is one that is over on my couch that I still have to play, but it looks fabulous. Oh, it's a cooperative game. I didn't even realize that. Makes me even more want to play it. So I'll have to get Michael in on that one, hopefully in the near future, and we can show that off. Return to Dark Tower. There's a second printing. This has been on Michael's list for a very long time. I'm interested in it. I'm not sure I'll love it, but I'm also not. I don't want to pay $190 for it either if I know I'm not going to love it. This is a game I would love to play before buying, just because of the high price point. I want to know that I like it before I drop a couple $100. Chateau Roquefort. This is a reprint. It looks like it's a 2023 edition. I mean, this is a kids game that did really well, and so whenever I see it on the VFM, it's always going for like a lot of money. So people still want it. So I'm not surprised to see a reprint of it. So it's I would like to play it just because I've seen it being played a lot. Hello, Matt. What's up? Welcome in. I am just going over some of the Origins preview on BGG. I talked about 40 games that I've already played, and now I'm going through the rest of the list of games that I'm interested in trying. Be Hexed from Smirk and Dagger, 3 to 5 players. The Smirk and Dagger games I don't often love because there's generally a lot of take that game in the games because it's Smirk and Dagger, you're backstabbing. So I kind of like the Smirk and Laughter games a little bit more just because it's a little bit more friendly. But they have really nice games, and I'm still curious to check out Be Hexed. It doesn't help that it's 3 to 5 players because I often don't have that, but I like the option of 2-player games. So wow, 40 games, yeah. A lot of these games aren't that new. I think maybe it's I don't know, but a lot of them. So the Kickstarters have maybe been delivered, or I don't know. I've out of the 80 games that are being sold from the list. So the Origins list is very small. It's only 80 games for sale. The whole list is 118, including the demo games, which I'm not even talking about the demo games. I'm just talking about the games for sale anyway. And so I narrowed it down to 40 games that I've played, and then about, I don't know, 20, 30 more that I'm interested in checking out. Old Tree is getting an expansion. This is a must-have. I love Old Tree. It's a fantastic scenario campaign type game. Really fun, super fun. So an expansion for it, yes, please. I've really enjoyed my few plays of Old Tree. It's a game I wish I got to the table more. It's a challenge. It's cooperative. I like it. I really, really like this one. So I can't say I love the undead theme because I really am not a zombie fan at all, but I love the look of Old Tree. Everything about it is fabulous. A new game called Valbara. Don't know anything about it, honestly, but Studio H really is doing a great job, so I am sure this game is also going to be fabulous. That's the only reason why it's on my list. I like hand management games, so if it's a card game, great. All for it. White Wizard Games is coming out with a game called Kapow, which I haven't even heard of until I looked at this list. So definitely interested in this. It is hand management and dice. I think it's like dice. I was looking at it. It kind of reminded me of Warriors, but 1 to 2 players. I was looking at this picture here. I really don't know much about it, but there's dials and there's dice, some cards. It just looks silly. I mean, I want to try it. I want to try it. It's gonna be great. I think that's the end of my list. So I had 26 titles on my interested and must-have list. And then I had 37 titles on my already played. So not a whole lot coming out at Origins. But maybe this is a good get excited for Gen Con smaller preview as it always is. So I'm not going to Origins this year, but I figured might as well check out the list and see what was going on. It did not take me very long to go through the list. So hopefully you enjoyed this preview for Origins. And yeah, I will be right back on Twitch. So check me out over on twitch.tv/BoardGamerSteph if you haven't yet done so and you're watching this on YouTube after the fact. Otherwise, I'll be right back.